everybody's doing well and having a great day. In this video, you guys are going to see a view of the sunset from the cockpit of an airplane. We're going to analyze this unique video footage I just received today. Also going to see a mysterious white object in DC and Ontario, Canada that appear to be the same exact object. Speaking of object, I received this video footage from Nelson Jenks via the Soho Lasco C2, C3, and you can see a comet right there diving into the sun, returning to its home. That's on the Lasco C2, pretty decent sized comet. That would be what's known as a sun diving comet. And here's another view from the Lasco C3, comet once again barreling towards the sun. Speaking of barrel, I have a hurricane update to share with you guys. I noticed a lot of you reminded me that I had made mention that hurricanes don't form in the Sahara sand that travels from the western coast of Africa all the way across the Atlantic to the United States. And typically that is the case. Here's a look at Hurricane Beryl as it just crossed the Windward Islands down in the southern Caribbean. We're going to take a closer look at the hurricane here in just a moment. But first, over here at the homepage of the website, today's feature photo was sent in by the Castillo family out of San Antonio, Texas. A gigantic orange, what looks like an anvil cloud in the sky above San Antonio. Checking in on the GOES X-ray flux over here at the Space Weather Prediction Center, had a moderate M-class solar flare in the last 12 hours. Other than that, not too much action. And that is definitely not the case over here at the Schumann. You can see the activity has been well above 40 hertz for the last 8 hours. Hopping over to the Yellowstone supervolcano caldera, looking at seismographs that monitor the mighty supervolcano. Looks a lot like it did yesterday. Still seeing persistent earthquake activity at Soda Butte. And up here at the Mammoth Vault seismograph, this seismograph here, the borehole 945, it's looking better, but there for a while it was in a league all its own. Seeing some earthquake activity down here at Grant Village and also up here in the very active northwestern quadrant. But other than that, pretty quiet at the supervolcano caldera. Wanted to give you guys a quick update on the hurricane. Yes, guys, I did say that hurricanes don't normally form in those big waves of Sahara dust that travel across the Atlantic Ocean, primarily during the summertime. And as you can clearly see over here at nullschool.net, there's a huge plume of sand particulates making the long journey east to west across the Atlantic Ocean. However, this year there was a hurricane that formed at the very bottom of the sand plume. What the sand plume is telling you is there's wind shear out here. And guys, I was the first one to tell you there was a hurricane that formed in a very unusual place. And typically hurricanes do not form under these types of conditions. These are not ideal conditions for hurricanes. This hurricane, though, did manage to form. And as you can see, it's very small. Maybe that's how it formed and kind of snuck its way underneath the sand plume. But nevertheless, there is a hurricane in the southern Caribbean. Whether it be an anomaly or not, it is on all of the weather apps that I use. And over here at windy.com, it's showing wind speeds of 73 miles an hour, 62 miles an hour, 65 miles an hour, implying that that's a category 1. Another thing in its favor are the warm waters that it's currently in. These are some of the warmest waters in the world. This is a map of the sea surface temperature showing 30 degrees Celsius in this part of the world, in the southern Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico. Some areas might be 31 degrees Celsius. That is some of the warmest water in the world. The warmest water in the world over here in the Persian Gulf being 32, 33 degrees Celsius, and even over here in the northern Red Sea, 30 degrees Celsius, the same temperature as it is over here in the southern Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. So that is definitely to its advantage. But as far as the hurricane being able to survive in this type of environment is a bit mysterious. Check out this map of wind shear. All of the red lines you see are unfavorable conditions for hurricanes. The red lines represent wind shear. The green lines represent favorable environments for hurricanes. So the hurricane right now is in an environment that's absent of wind shear. But if you look at the other systems that they've been following, they never did get organized because of wind shear. You can see out here in the southern Gulf of Mexico, that's what caused this system here to basically fall apart, was the red lines you see right there. Those represent wind shear. So the wind shear definitely plays an important role in the formation of hurricanes. How this one formed, maybe its small size and the warm water waters were advantageous to this thing forming. Right now, it looks like it's a Category 1 with wind speeds. Even over here at Null School, it's showing wind speeds of 86 miles per hour on the right-hand side of the storm, which is typically the strongest side of the storm, looking at 84 miles per hour and wind speeds of 74 miles per hour. So according to these charts here, it looks like this is a Category 1 hurricane. I want to take you guys now to the skies of Ontario, and then we're going to D.C. Diane 6/27, 2024 looked up and saw this in the daytime sky. It was not an airplane, didn't make any noise, had no blinking lights, definitely wasn't a helicopter. And as you're going to see as it moves closer and closer to the tree line here, you're going to see something come out the back of this thing. Almost looks like some sort of vapor. I'm going to zoom in. We'll take a closer look at this mysterious white object that was super quiet, had no wings, no tail fin, no propellers, made no noise. Definitely wasn't a typical aircraft that you would see in the daytime sky. Okay, watch the backside of this craft. You're going to see some sort of mysterious vapor-like material come out the back. Right there, see it? Almost looked like smoke, some sort of vapor. Either way, that was a mysterious craft in the sky above Ontario, going from Ontario to D.C. Papa Gus, 6/19 of 2024, looking east from southeast D.C. Looked like the same exact object. Very quiet, no blinking lights, no wings, no tail fin. This one didn't appear to have any type of weird vapor coming out the back of it, but again, wasn't a helicopter or an airplane. A complete enigma, kind of like the hurricane down in the southern Caribbean Sea right now. This thing too was mysterious, compelling enough to pull out the phone and start recording. And usually you don't do that unless it's something that you haven't seen before. Now we're going to a modified format. I simply adjusted the lighting and color, trying to look for possible wings or tail fins, and there were none to see. Again, this object was spotted in the sky above southeast D.C. a couple of weeks ago by Papa Gus. Here's another format that should have revealed wings or tail fins, and again, there were none to reveal. So two objects spotted in the daytime sky several days apart, several hundred miles apart, that look like possibly the same exact object. Going to look at the sunset from the cockpit of an airplane. Don't see this very often, but is it real? Let's take a closer look. Video footage sent in by BMCK. That's all I know. I don't know where they were at. They didn't say. This was all the information they gave me other than this beautiful sunset visible from the airplane. So looking at this video, given the information that I was by the viewer saying that this was the sunset visible from the airplane, I got to looking at it and I'm like, wow, that sun's not very bright and it's in the middle of the clouds over there. Why is the sun setting in the clouds and not over here on the horizon? Well, I'll tell you guys why, because that's not the sunset. Let me fast forward this and show you guys what's going on. Notice this beam of light right here. That's there for a reason, and I'll explain why. In case you were wondering if that view was from the cockpit of the airplane, yes, there was plenty of room from the cockpit to record the engine and the wing, so that view was from the cockpit of the airplane, and I'm going to show you why this was indeed a fake. That is a simple reflection. Multiple reasons why. One, it's not bright enough. If that were the real sun, even though it's halfway below the clouds, it would still be extremely bright, much brighter than what you see right there. Reflections have no extreme light. They look just like that. This ray of light right here is also an indication that this is a reflection. And again, the absence of extreme bright light. Here's the technique that I used. I simply put it in fast forward. You're going to see this thing bounce around and notice these double clouds up here remain in the same place and this thing moves. That's because the viewer that was filming this thing right there moved their camera, the reflection moved, and the clouds did not. See right there? See how it bounced? That's a giveaway that that was a total reflection. Right there it bounced again because the camera moved. The sun did not bounce. That was the camera moving because it was a reflection, and now it's gone. The plane was flying south. This view is east. That's the Sahara dust in the atmosphere, easily visible from the cockpit of an airplane. I used this cockpit as an example to show you guys what was going on right here and how I determined that this was indeed a fake. That wasn't really the sun. The sunset was over here in the western sky, plane flying south. This would be the east. That was a reflection on this glass right here that appeared to be out above the clouds, giving the illusion that the sun was setting in the clouds. And I put an arrow up here to show exactly that. Sun setting over here in the west, reflection over on the left. Real sun would look like this. See how bright it is? Even though it's halfway below the horizon, it's still very, very bright. And this one here that was sent to me is a fake because there is no bright light like you see right there. And you can see the light of the sun over there is still super bright. And the sun right there is halfway below the horizon, down below the clouds, unlike the one that was sent to me where there's hardly any bright light coming off of the visible sun, because the extreme bright light is never transferred via a reflection. So that's where the view was from, the cockpit of the airplane right there, and they were implying to me that that was a sunset dipping down into the clouds, and that is not a sunset. So unfortunately, I get things like this from time to time, and I have to figure them out, whether or not they're real or they're fake. So in this instance, in case you happen to see this going around, this is not real. The sun is not setting in these clouds right here. This is a reflection on the window of the airplane. Thanks for watching. Have a super day, and be safe out there.